Namaskar friends. In the previous video, we were discussing the intelligence in human beings and we ended up discussing the Varna system in Hindu texts. But why at all are we discussing the Varna system in the context of intelligence? Friends, I told you that just like mobile phones have an operating system. Different mobiles have different operating systems. Similarly, the four Varnas defined in Hindu texts are actually the four operating systems of intelligence in human beings. I will repeat. The four Varnas are the four types of intelligence systems operating in different human beings. Friends, if you consider any society in the world, whether it is the Western society, whether it is African society, whether it is Muslims, whether it is Chinese, whether Buddhist, or whichever society anywhere in the world, irrespective of the nations, you will find that broadly there are four basic intelligences in the humans. One category is the people who go into teaching, learning, research, studies, writing, etc. This is one category of the people. The second category in any society again is the people who are into politics or who would like to go into the police or the people who would like to work in military, the defense forces. That is the second category. Third distinct category in any society is again Vaishyas, the business community. You see, there are certain people whose minds by birth inherently works in business. For example, if we see in India, we have the Marwari community, the Agarwal community, the Gujarati community, who are by birth predominantly, I'm saying predominantly, in these communities, the people are by birth, they think business. Their mind runs in business. Everybody's mind is not business oriented. The fourth category is of those people who are happy working for anyone in any office for a salary. They may be working for any of the other three categories for a salary and they are happy about it. So these four categories they exist in all the societies of the world. There is no fifth category. It is these four categories in which the entire societies of the world can be divided. And these are the four basic intelligence systems, operating systems working in human brains. Although at times these are not hard and fast, but predominantly to earn a living, a person uses only one kind of varna, one kind of intelligence for a living. I'll give you an example. For example, if a person is employed with armed forces, So he is both working for a salary as well as protecting the nation. But over here, the primary intelligence is working for a salary. The secondary is protecting the nation. Similarly, we have so many teaching community, so many persons in teaching community who work in an institution and take a salary. So primarily, first they are into the serving community, and the secondary intelligence is Brahman. There are people who are running educational institutions, but they themselves do not teach or do anything. They are running the educational institutions as businesses. So they are the Vaishya community. There are people who are running the educational institutions and also teaching. They are the Vaishya community primarily, and secondary is Brahmins. There are other people, for example, they are into teaching not as a business. They are the true Brahmins. So, do you understand? First of all, there are four types of intelligences, and there is no hard and fast demarcated line between them. It's a mix of the intelligences, but the primary intelligence, which is used for earning a salary, earning a living, that is only one. Friends, I hope you understand. And also remember that these days there are hundreds and hundreds of examples where people of big business men, they don't like to join their parents' business. They go into, for example, the IT field and are happy working for other companies. So while their parents are the Vaishyas, the children are the Shudras. They are happy working for others for a salary. Similarly, among the, for example, business community, their kids are working for the armed forces. So it is the intelligence of a person is not may not be that of his father. You must know. So the intelligence of a person is not defined by the parentage. It is defined by what the nature has given by birth. Any person may like to go into any particular fields, one field out of these four fields. There are various definitions given for each of these four categories, both in Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Manusmriti. But those definitions have been given according to certain time periods. But in any case, I like to point them out here. For example, Adhyapnam, Adhyayanam, Yajanam, Yajanam, तथा दानम प्रतिग्रहम च ब्राह्मण नाम kalpayat. That is teaching, performing yajna, taking donations are the deeds of Brahmins. Performing yajna for own self or others also. Similarly, prajanam rakshanam दान विद्या ध्ययन में च विषयेषु प्रसक्ति क्षत्रियस्य समासता. Protecting the people, giving charity, reading the scriptures like Vedas, performing yajnas like Agnihotra, remaining detached from subjects, remaining free from vices like greed, adultery, alcohol, etc., and always being engaged in auspicious deeds like politeness and civility. These are the characteristics of Kshatriyas. Similarly, for Vaishyas, Pashunam Rakshanam Dhanamidhyadhayanam Mevcha वणिक्पथं कुसीदं च वैश्यस्य कृषिमेव च. Cultivation and rearing of animals like cows, etc., making donations, performing yajnas, reading Vedas, scriptures, doing all kinds of business, doing agriculture. These are the dharma of Vaishyas. एक में तु शूद्रस्य प्रभु कर्म समादिशत एतेषामेव वर्णानाम शुश्रूषामनसूयया. For a Shudra person who is uneducated, unable to read, physically strong and skilled in service, God has prescribed for him to serve the three varnas of Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya with love and without criticism. Friends, I find a mistranslation in this. I've taken this translation from certain eminent authors' texts. So if we look at the verse, it says, Ek me tu Shuddhasya. For Shudra, the term that has been decided, that is serving the other three communities. So they, in the Sanskrit verse, there is no mention of uneducated, unable to read, physically strong, skilled in service. These have been added by the people who translated the verse. So broadly, if we look at the definition of the four categories, it is what I told you in the beginning of this lecture. So I hope you understand the importance of the four categories, because the entire societies of the world can be divided into these four categories. The second important thing to realize is that this categorization is by birth, not by parentage. And the third important realization that you must have, you think for yourself. Any society in this world, can it survive without any one of the four categories of the people? No. Can the society survive without the teachers? It cannot. Can the society survive without the military and police? No. Can the society survive without the business people who drive the finances of the nations? No. Can any society survive without the people who are working for the millions and millions of institutions? Society cannot survive without any one of these four pillars of the society. We understand that even the Shudra, which has been so maligned over the centuries and centuries, the society cannot survive without the people who are serving the other three communities. They cannot survive. You can't have a society of only the teachers, the business people, and the armed forces with no people there to serving them. So the fourth community is just as important as any other three communities. But over the centuries, a mindset has been created that Shudras are downcast and they are this and they are that. So with this, we come to the end of this lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss another very important aspect, and that is Jati. So we'll discuss that in the next lecture.